Hey guys, my name is Miska and welcome to Overwatch Central. There's a lot to cover in this video, but as you can see by the title, I do not think that this whole new thing about Paris and about the new hero and everything around that is an ARG for Hero 30. The teaser was released, and in that GIF of the teaser we found a hex code. This was kind of similar to all the Sombra ARG stuff, a lot of hex code and base 64 in there, so people were already kind of getting hyped for another sort of, at least a scavenge hunt of hints and such, maybe not a full-blown ARG. So after that, we had, not too long ago, the Paris travel guide revealed, and with this sentence at the end of it: Paris is a city of hidden gems. Search out the speakeasies and hidden places as you roam the city. The right word might get you into a place you never knew existed. This could just be Blizzard saying, hey, take a look around the map, there's a lot of cool things, but people really focused on that last part, and the right word might get you into a place you never knew existed was understood as maybe a door opening from a voice line. So people went in game, started spamming voice lines at this mysterious door in this part of the map with no results really. In addition to that, it was also found that there was a poster around the map of this opera right here. Normally we get Overwatch related ads around the map, but this opera was here and it seemed a bit odd because we hadn't seen this before. A few people googled it, and if you google it you can find a Wikipedia article about this opera that exists in real life that was written by a Jean Baptiste, and Jean Baptiste is the same first name as the first name for Hero 30. This resulted in people starting to try and play the piano, maybe play a song from that opera or something like that on the piano, but this is a 2-hour 5-act plus a prologue, I believe, long opera, so it's very hard to find any particular song in there, and that's kind of where we're at right now. There was, of course, the general dead end that someone was bound to find eventually around this wine bottle on the map, which had a French last name on it, and people started googling that, finding some old family that had a name in it somewhere that roughly translated to Rhine, as in Reinhardt, and then there was also a widow in that family, maybe relating to Widowmaker, but all of that was kind of debunked when someone found that this is actually just the last name of a freelance 3D artist that has done work for Blizzard. So it's most likely just that person that put their name on a thing they were making, which makes a lot of sense. But let's get back to that door and back to all of these hints and back to this whole thing with people approaching this like an ARG. To begin with, I'm all for it in a way. I really like this type of hype, and I really like it when these actually turn out to be real, when there's actually a proper ARG. There's of course the very well-known Batman the Dark Knight ARG from way back in the day when that movie was being marketed, which was just a ridiculous ARG. You should go read all about it if you haven't, because it is super interesting. And then there was of course the Sombra ARG. Now, these ARGs took a long time, and they were quite extensive and just complex, and anyone that follows the Overwatch content cycle knows that there's not a lot of time left before the hero is revealed, so it doesn't make sense to have a full-blown ARG or any ridiculous mystery. Yes, some small hints here and there, sure, most definitely. Having this opera on the map might even just be a hint that's sort of like, oh, this is the first name of Hero 30, might be a hint at that first name, but I don't think it's gonna be anything more than that. So that's why the timing for a full-blown ARG just doesn't make any sense really, and I don't think there will be any sort of major ARG or anything like that happening purely because of this timing. But we do also have Blizzard that have many times admitted just how poor the Sombra ARG was overall. They got a lot of criticism with that because it lasted for a long time. There was no real payoff at the end other than Sombra being released, which was probably just gonna happen anyway, right? And there was no sort of story building for the universe or anything really like that. It was just a bunch of ciphers and puzzles that didn't really mean too much or didn't really reveal anything that was crucial to the Overwatch lore either. And that kind of sucked, and Blizzard recognized this, have mentioned it a couple times when asked about it in interviews, but in general it's kind of a no-go zone, and when that happens at Blizzard, they tend to never touch those areas ever again and never really go back there. So I would again assume that they are not doing another ARG maybe ever within Overwatch. And that's okay, to be honest. They can still drop hints like these and still have fun with it, but just remember how crazy the Sombra ARG was. Jeff Kaplan mentioned in an interview at some point that like, oh, that sounds a bit too crazy, that's way above our heads. And people took that way above our heads thing as looking upwards into the sky, went in game, went to Dorado, looked up in the sky, found that skybox artifacting that people thought was the skycode for a long time, which was just all a dead end and a misunderstanding. And that was all done from Jeff Kaplan just saying way above our heads. There were a lot of these things happening over time. There was also the A Moment in Crime website where we finally got that loading bar, but nothing really happened along the way. It was just a wait for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then nothing really happened when it finished. The Sombra ARG continued, and in the end it was basically just a message from Sombra saying, hey, thanks for the help, I'll see you around, and then 2 weeks later she was revealed at BlizzCon. It was really kind of disappointing, honestly. But the hype around it and the people involved, and to the extent that they went to actually go through with this ARG, all of the fake websites, all of the ciphers, the phone line you could call up with like someone on the other end speaking Spanish, I think, just dropping a bunch of different numbers and clues like that to you.
Gracias por llamar al soporte técnico de numérico. Por favor, seleccione una de las siguientes. 5, 2, 4, 1, 3.
Sombra, is that you? Please stop. It's time to stop.
It was ridiculous, and looking back at it, I can't believe that actually happened. But I don't think it's gonna happen again simply because of how Blizzard have kind of admitted that it was a bit of a mistake. So let's sort of wrap up and summarize like this. If you're into looking for all these different clues, yes, there might be something that you might find eventually, but don't dedicate loads of time to this if you feel like you might be disappointed if it doesn't end up really being anything. If you feel like you have a bit of extra time in your hands and you like getting into this sort of stuff, then go ahead, enjoy it. There's not many chances like this, and it is pretty cool to see people try and connect the dots and such, and it definitely creates a bit of mystery and hype. I'm all for it in that way, but yeah, I know how disappointed you can feel if you spend a lot of time on this stuff and it doesn't really end up being anything. Alright, that's all for this video though. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to read more about the Sombra ARG and maybe also the Batman Dark Knight ARG, which was also a crazy story that I really recommend checking out, then just check the description. I'll leave a couple links in there. That's all for this video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.